Am I the a-hole for leaving without explanation after mother-in-law pretended not to hear me? I, 32 female, have a 7-month-old daughter with my husband, 34 male. My country does ensure a long maternity leave for up to 2 years. However, I am self-employed and cannot afford to lose my clients, so I try to work while my daughter is sleeping and during the weekends. Lately, she's been teething, so I'm operating on little to no sleep. I have an issue with my mother-in-law. She does what she wants despite people asking her not to, and then says oops or denies doing it. Things like that. It was annoying before the baby, but after she was born, it has become insufferable. Husband talked to her and set boundaries, so she stopped doing that when my husband is present, but she was still doing it when it's only me in the room. So we agreed she cannot visit when husband is not at home, and husband is not to leave me alone with her. Because of these boundaries, we did not see them for 5 months. They lived 2 hours away and we did not find a mutually good time. They finally came over last Sunday. 20 minutes into the visit, my father-in-law wants to see a lawnmower that has broken down, so my husband goes into the backyard with him, leaving me, the baby, and mother-in-law inside. She's drinking coffee and eating cake. She sits next to my daughter on her playmat and tries to feed her some of her cake. I immediately told her no, she can't have that. Mother-in-law pretends not to hear me and proceeds putting her spoon to my daughter's closed mouth. I repeat, stop doing that. She can't have cake yet, and definitely not from your spoon. Still, she pretends not to hear me. I repeat it again, still nothing, and now there's cake on my baby's face and she's fussing. So I grab my daughter and go to my husband and father-in-law, subtly gesturing him to come back inside. After about 5 minutes, mother-in-law decided to go outside too and was approaching me and the baby. I gestured to my husband again, and he made an annoyed face. I had no energy to deal with any of this, so I stood up, went inside, grabbed baby bag and car keys, and went to the car without saying a word. Mother-in-law asked me where I was going, and I ignored her. I drove to my sister's, which is about 15 minutes drive. There were some missed calls from my husband, so I texted him where we were and that we'll be back in the evening. It was time for my daughter's nap, and she fell asleep breastfeeding, so my sister told me to go sleep too. After she woke up and had her milk, my sister took her and told me to go back to sleep. I slept approximately 3 hours in total, and my phone was on silent, so my husband's calls were ignored, and apparently his parents left disappointed and mother-in-law cried. My husband is furious I did this. We're still fighting about it. He can't believe I was so rude and took the baby away when his parents came to see her after such a long time. He's angry I couldn't have waited a few minutes so that he could finish talking about the lawnmower. I told him I'm too exhausted to deal with this shit. He left me alone with mother-in-law despite our agreement, be it only 10 minutes, so I left. Am I the a-hole?
Not the a-hole. Your mother-in-law should respect your boundaries, and especially when it's about your baby. And your husband should have your back on that. I do understand that it must be uncomfortable and hurt him, seeing his mother cry and be upset, but then he should talk to her about it, instead of making you the bad person. The only thing I think you did wrong was that you didn't pick your daughter up after the first time you said it, and mother-in-law didn't listen. Maybe that would have made things go more smooth, but then again, it shouldn't really be necessary. I do think that it is important that you stand up for your boundaries, and your husband should support you on that.
This needs to be the new standard. If you don't listen to the baby's mother about what is best for the baby, you immediately lose access to the baby. That is how it is going to be, and will be the only way that she might listen. When you are a parent, you need to learn to enforce consequences. This is a great place to start.
Not the a-hole, but you have a husband problem as much as a mother-in-law problem. So mother-in-law was ignoring your instructions about your child, so you went to your husband so he could deal with his mother. Except a lawnmower, which would still be there after the conversation with you finished, was more important than his agitated wife and child. And instead of checking if you were okay, He had a go at you for making his mother cry. You need to have a serious talk with your husband about how much he is actually supporting you with your child and with his mother. When you have that conversation, do not let him distract you with, "But they were upset." Mother-in-law behaved inappropriately. He ignored you, so you left. Their behavior created the issue. You let him know where you were and when you'd be back. Do not let him turn any of this back onto you. He and his mother have a lot to apologize for.
OP didn't make husband's mother cry. Not really. That weeping was 100% manipulation. "Oh, I'm so sorry. What did I do wrong?" is knee-deep bullshit. A performance designed to rile the others in the room. She wasn't hurt. She was disappointed her target is onto her.
Not the a-hole. What is it with older people and feeding cake to babies? My grandma tried to give cake to my daughter when she was 3 or 4 months old.
It's not about the cake. It's them thinking they know better, since after all, they managed to raise healthy children themselves. What they don't realize is that with every generation, we learn that certain child-rearing practices were indeed very harmful and no longer do them.
Cake to your 7-month-old child against your explicit instructions? From a shared spoon? Mother-in-law should have gotten kicked out of the house. But I understand you're wanting to keep the peace and removing yourself and your child from this situation. Husband has to do a better job communicating with his parents. You are not the a-hole.
Am I the a-hole for refusing to babysit my niece? My brother and sister-in-law say they caught me on the nanny cam not watching their child and working instead. I don't know who all they told this to, but it got back to me. What actually happened is I was asked to babysit last minute, and I said I had scheduled work meetings and deadlines, but since I work from home, I could come over with my partner and take care of my niece. I offered for my partner to watch her with my supervision. Bronzes-in-law agreed to this, and I sent several photo and video updates of niece having a lovely time playing with my partner, who is really wonderful with children and always so sweet to my niece. I was horrified that family, friends, and who knows else was being told that I was not properly caring for my niece. I communicated my limitation in advance, but they completely left that detail out and made it seem like I blindsided them. I decided to let myself cool down from this frustrating circumstance and then sent a message to my Bronzes-in-law saying that I love my niece, but I no longer feel comfortable caring for her on my own because of the way that things have been communicated and, in my opinion, seriously misconstrued. This meant I'm no longer on the list of people that can be called last minute to watch her or pick her up from school. Bronzes-in-law then started telling family members that I don't want a relationship with my niece and I'm taking out my anger on her. They also said that I am depriving her of a safe person to pick her up if something comes up. My parents talked to them, and my brother then says that they also caught me yelling at my niece on the nanny cam. I know this is untrue because she is a perfect angel every time I watch her. She's truly the sweetest child. Never have I even had a reason to raise my voice at my niece. My parents were immediately suspicious of this accusation for the same reasons above, and knowing how I am with children, and my niece in particular. They asked if Bronzes-in-law had confronted me about this, to which they said no because I will just deny it. Parents then said, "What does a resolution look like to you? Because we are not sure how to help without understanding what you want." Bronzes-in-law replied that they want an apology for me taking my name off of the list of people that could watch their child and to be available to watch her again. Am I the a-hole for refusing to babysit my niece?
Not the a-hole. Honestly, ask to review the tape. Call them out. Make them accountable.
And do it on the family group chat so everyone they're lying to gets to see.
I believe they told my parents that the video wasn't saved any longer when asked about it. I can't speak to the details of the conversation though, because I was not part of it.
Maybe ask them why they want you back on the list of people who will watch your niece if they think you yelled at her and neglected to watch her. Point this out in a group chat, not the a-hole.
Not the a-hole. And if it were me, I would never watch niece again. Not because I wouldn't want to spend time with niece, but because you never know if they'll make bigger, more serious, unfounded accusations that could have bigger consequences for you or your partner.
I'm definitely worried about that, but also it seems like there is no way to resolve the rift without taking it back, so it feels like an overwhelming decision.
You didn't do anything wrong. Drop the rope. They are people who don't appreciate you and will misuse you while making your life difficult. Let them get someone else. They are upset you withdrew your help, yet you are good with your niece. They know this. They thought you would take it lying down. You need to get away from the drama.
Not the a-hole. They sound super manipulative and controlling. Don't even bother with people who make shit up. Also, let anyone who repeats their accusations know that they want you to apologize for removing yourself from her school pickup and continue to watch niece. If you were so horrible, why are they still asking you to watch her? Also, I would communicate only via text with them from now on.
I have started doing this, and since I have, always carbon copied my parents as well, so they know they can't go and lie to them about what was said. Interestingly, the second lie about the yelling was after I started only communicating via text that included parents. It felt like they were attempting triangulation, and it failed because I texted everyone and was transparent, so they tried another lie to triangulate us. I legit wish I had a psych opinion on their behavior because I don't understand the logic.
Not the a-hole. They have made strong allegations against you, and you have to protect yourself and your reputation. They made their bed, they get to lie in it.
What do you think of these stories? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel to see more interesting videos.